So it says why millennials feel let down by their parents, grandparent style. Growing up, many of us saw our grandparents as a second set of parents, always there, always willing to help. But now that we have kids of our own, it feels like our parents, their grandparents, are setting new boundaries we never expected. They don't want to babysit, they don't want to be full time caregivers, and some even feel like they've done their time raising kids. Meanwhile, we're juggling careers, rising costs, and lack of support. Are millennials entitled for expecting more hands on grandparents, and are parents justified in setting limits on their grandparent duties? That happens. Like you could be tired of your child and you didn't want them to have
I think
grandkids, or that you didn't want them to have kids because you didn't like the person they were dealing with. So you probably feel some resentment towards your child, and now fuck them
that
kids.
didn't matter back in the day.
kids.
And that's the problem. Everybody's always saying FTK. And it's not FTK. And the problem really is I got the emotion. So I don't think that it's my mom is not, she shouldn't have to raise my children. But at the same time, it's like, sis, you got help when I was little. So I don't want to hear nothing about what I got going on. I don't want to hear nothing about how I'm parenting, what I got time to do, how successful I should be. Because at the end of the day, I got my son all the time. So, and my mom is very helpful, but she's a nurse. Like she's an RN. Yes. She has her own house. She's, like she has her own bills and own stuff to worry about. So she works full time. So I don't even feel like putting that burden on her. If I really do need a sitter, I know I can call on my grandmother or my mom, but they still work. Like my grandmother is retired. No, my grandmother is retired, but because the economy is so messed up, sometimes she's like, you know what? I think I need to go get me a little something, and I'm just
Walmart greeter job.
yeah, a little something, but it's a shame.
You're like, here,
it's terrible,
baby.
right? But I have never been able to say, oh, my son's going here for the summer.
Yeah, but I don't. And see, everybody parents
I've never
different.
been that kid though.
Yeah,
I
I don't-
wish I could have.
Wait,
been.
what kid?
Does
Those
go away.
parents be sending their kids off
Really?
to their
I was
grandparents
gone.
for the summer.
What?
I was
Yeah.
gone.
Say if their parents lived in Houston, like your family, like send your kids to Houston. They in Houston for the summer. I got the summer off.
For me, I really appreciate the time that I have with my kids, and I don't want my mom, or any of the grandparents to raise my children, right? So realistically, if my girl's parents live in Los Angeles, so it's a little bit different. So my mother lives down the street from me. My mom probably takes the kids, I would say, once every 2 to 3 weeks, right? And she'll take them for a day, Saturday into Sunday, and then she'll bring it back. But I'm okay with that because for me, it's like, if I am going to be the one to be the parent, I want to be the parent. I'm not looking for. Now I do get it. Sometimes we need a break as a parent, but I don't need a whole weekend break. Like all I need is a day break. And I don't need that every weekend. I honestly don't even need it every other weekend. So I'll be cool with I'll be cool parenting my kids all the time. Like for me, it's not a burden. Now my girl, she'd be like, oh, I need a break. I'd be like,
That's what I was about
but
to
I
say.
do everything with the kids. So you already got a break on a day to
Can I say
day.
something
do
without
that.
being disrespectful? Like I don't want to be disrespectful.
I do this shit all the time. Like
That's what you think.
No, that's what we all know. This is like my house.
I feel as though men sometimes, like present dads.
I'm not present. I'm active.
You're
It's
an
big-
active dad.
It's different.
Sorry, my apologies. I'm not trying to be disrespectful in any kind of way, but it's kind of like
Demure.
I was about to say, stop apologizing to this fucking man.
I'm changing. You guys,
See how demure?
I go to church every weekend. I'm changing. Like I'm literally not the old Jada. Okay, I haven't cursed once.
You did say
Recognize.
FTP.
I said
mean,
exactly.
she whatever.
Say, y'all got more
FTK.
tequila?
I don't.
Shot, please.
That was the only thing I did because it's my best friend's birthday weekend. So
Oh, happy birthday!
yes, Pisces
happy
in
birthday,
the building.
friend.
Yes. So, anyways, I'm not trying to be disrespectful in any way, but I feel as though men are able to they don't feel the need as much for a break because I feel like they get more breaks naturally. I feel like naturally, for example, my son is always going to come to me. My son is always going to call me. I'm not saying in your situation, so that's why I
them
said
niggas
don't.
call me, and it ain't one, it's two.
But so you guys both work, right?
Yeah, but I'm saying both kids call me.
Who's home majority of the time?
Me.
You are.
But we kind of
Well, that's
both
what
are
he just said.
equally.
He has the
You do be
flexibility
home.
to
Yeah.
do all of
Got
this
you.
stuff.
But and that's the difference. Like, I've set my life up to be home
Okay.
majority of the time, right? she works in the office twice a week. She's
Okay.
home 3 times a week, right? Hybrid. So, but my thing is scratch that, right? Because the kids are gone, let's just say from 8 a.m. till at least 3 p.m., 3:30.
Mm-hmm.
Now, let's say from 5:30, which is when my daughter is in, and they're both simultaneously there. We are both there majority of the day, majority of the time. When we are there, she is doing whatever she wants to do. She might be in the room, she might be in the bathroom, she might be doing her hair, she might be doing fucking around playing, making fake food, all her little extracurricular hobbies that she
Fake
decides to
food.
do.
Why did you say it
Fake
like that? Like,
food.
Because
that's what she likes to do.
that's what she calls it. Like she like does the micro poly clays, like the little clay.
Who, the
Oh,
baby?
she makes that?
No, my girl.
Oh, that is cool.
girlfriend.
I love those little things.
She does like she has these little innovative spurts where she's doing a slime business and she's learning how to make slime and she wants to,
Cool.
but she has the luxury to do that. And the kids, besides, unless my daughter says, "Can I play with the finished product?" right, is not bothering her. They're not coming to her. They're coming to me. You know what I'm saying? I'm the one that has to take them to the park. I'm the one that has to play with them in the house. I'm the one that has to bring them to school. I'm the one that has to pick them up from school.
I don't believe
She's
it.
talking about she's like, yo, my girl just said, literally, she said, Violet's about to be 4. We got to sign her up for ballet or gymnastics. And I almost had a meltdown. Like, because I was like, so you want to add something else to my schedule? Like, because who's going to be bringing her? And who's going to get her? And who's going to sit there? And who's going to have to learn this shit to make sure that she's doing it right? And who's going to make sure that she's doing it right even when she's not at practice so she can get better when she is there? You know what I'm saying? So all of these different things that I take on.
Respectfully, I have to hear her side. I can't do it anymore.
hear-
I can't do it with men anymore.
this?
I hear you. I love you.
Forget
I
our
love
side.
you, Rico.
Ask the kids.
Wait, but did she say that she wouldn't be doing that though?
She doesn't do it. Like,
Okay, but how do you know that she didn't think about, oh, well, she should do something next year since she's going to be a year older. And yeah, I'll do this. I already know where I want her to go. So
because she never said it. She never did it. She never said it. She never did it. She never
okay,
positioned.
because when she brought up the topic, you attacked her about your schedule.
No, the thing is this. We already know. It's like, you know what? When you know your partner, you know your partner. Right? I know when she's a Gemini. Oh, she's here one minute and over there the next. She's just giving ideas, giving like, okay, let's do this, let's do that. But then
Get her Adderall, like me.
Get her sneeze.
Something.
I'm trying to figure out who in the hell did you really raise? Some of y'all.
As a borderline Gen X millennial born in 1984, I'll add my 2 cents to this very thoughtful discussion that has already received a lot of very thought-provoking videos. Obviously, the original poster is very frustrated. Motherhood is fucking hard. A lot of core Gen Xers have already done a really good job of explaining all the things that Gen Xers went through as latchkey kids that were responsible for their siblings and who are now like taking care of their parents, and how a lot of them really haven't had a break since childhood. So I want to focus more on why millennials are feeling this and some solution. So apart from the fact that Gen Xers might be a little bit more emotionally disengaged and a little more exhausted from having to do a lot of caretaking labor already, there's also the phenomenon of the nuclear family overtaking the extended family in recent years. Pretty much since the 50s, people have been increasingly on their own. As globalization has allowed people to travel more easily, people no longer live as closely to their extended family groups. And so we have a lot fewer options on, between aunts and uncles and grandmas and grandpas and things like that. I just created another video, which I haven't posted yet, on how to create your own village from scratch from new friends, because this has become such a huge issue. And in the last few years, it's become even more exacerbated by the fact that we are no longer sustainably single income households. So when you add the pressure of an extended family being far away, like my parents live in Nigeria, my husband's parents live in another state, and not having free options nearby to watch your kids. And then you're adding on top of that this immense financial pressure where you also can't afford childcare just for recreational free time. then you get this experience among millennials of basically being trapped by their parenthood. And I understand the Gen X perspective of, well, you know, you're not entitled to my free time to help you watch your kids. You're the one who decided to have those kids. But at the same time, there is reasonably an implicit agreement, like generation by generation. Like it's been assumed that when you have kids, your parents are going to help you with your kids, you know, because that's just how it's always been.
family.
And so I think
It's
the solution is that if you choose to be a parent, and I'll say this from the Gen X perspective, I chose to be a parent. And so I understand that I am implicitly signing up to watch my grandkids unless I state otherwise. You know, like the mental and physical.
I feel bad that I wish my mother would like have my son all over the world or whatever, but at the same time I know she has her responsibilities, and on top of that, like we got social media now. Our grandparents and them didn't have social media. You see people that are like in their 50s, 60s, 70s working out in the gym now, finding love, getting married in their 50s, 60s, 70s, having a life. And
Grandma
so
has a
now,
life.
yeah, and so now people have more to look forward to. Back then they were chilling in their house, doing their same routine every day. And it wasn't like, you know, they had so many other things to do, so they would sit in the house with their grandkids. But I feel as though we have been introduced to so much. We're evolving. This is just evolution. We're evolving. We don't even have family reunions and stuff like that no more. But when I tell you, we ain't really even family united as much as people were back in the day. We're not as united and together, and everybody's just living their own lives. So times have changed drastically. We've evolved into people.
Can
Yeah.
I?
Go ahead. I want you to say something.
I actually think it's very unfair that boomer parents or older Gen X parents are not stepping up to help watch their grandkids, because it's like that a lot of times we hear like that immigrant mentality. You feel like, oh, you made it over here, now let's shut the door. You got the benefit, now let's shut the door. Just like Elon Musk. Elon Musk has created his riches using government funds.
Now nobody else can.
I'm sorry, U.S. government funds. And it's like, but now you want to shut everybody else off from getting government funds. So I really don't understand the position that these grandparents are taking, where, I mean, unless you're working, I still get it if you still working. Actually, no, I don't. Because my grandma was still working. Literally, my grandma was like, is driven like 18-wheelers, hot shot, school buses. She's literally been in logistics my entire, I guess her entire life too, whatever, before she died. But I literally would be in the car or in the truck with my grandma riding hot shot. She was going to like drop off big industrial oil parts, like things like when you process oil, like that was her job. I was with her, so she could have said, "No, Mitzi, I can't watch Aaron." You know what I mean? But she didn't, and I also think that has something to do with how she was raised, because people also pitched in for her to be raised. You know what I mean? Especially because her mother died early. You know, like my girl was like 9. So she was also the youngest. So, you know, the other kids, you lived on a farm in the country, you know, the other kids look after the young ones. But anyway, I do think it's kind of selfish of these grandparents to have that position when you literally reaped the benefit of having your aunties, your uncles, your parents, and your grandparents. Because my great-grandma used to watch me too. You had all that help, but now it's your turn and your kid got a kid, and you got to have a life too all of a sudden.
They're gonna be in a nursing home.
Economy today.
They're gonna be in a
is
nursing
like, Why
home.
would you not help watch?
You
the
ain't
baby?
living with
I don't get it, because like they had everybody helping, everybody helping, but now all of a sudden you can't help.
Listen, I do not hesitate to tell my mama when this baby come, I'm not pregnant. Practicing.
Finally.
She's gonna be watching the baby. I'm not saying that I'm not at all, but this baby gonna be over here all the time.
It's
Can
the
I say
family's
something?
baby.
All the
I
time.
also think it's so like, I guess it does depend on how you were raised. I mean, I grew up predominantly with my mother, so when I had a kid and I said, "Listen, I'm going to take full responsibility of this child," I took that as full responsibility of this child, because a lot of the times my mom did everything for a good period of my time, my grandmother disowned my mother while she had me and my sister. So for me, when I signed up to having a child, I never even expected help from my mom, although I know she would be there.
So that's a trauma thing.
It's not a trauma. It's just the reality is that I can't have a baby with expectations of being spoiled by having some other help. Because the reality is, if the new norm is this, the new norm is that you're not going to be able to retire as early as you want. The new norm is going to be you have to work longer. That means us having to be the millennials with these kids. When those kids now become parents, they're going to look at it the same way as us. Listen, I got to be more active. I can't expect my parent or my child's grandparent to be there as often or frequent. I think, honestly, we've been spoiled by the village mentality and the community mentality, so that's why we're having a struggle. But one thing that I always realized...
They were spoiled.
One thing I always realized growing up, there was a lot of kids, and I would never want this to be the case, but there's a lot of kids who are now adults who valued their grandparent more than their parent. And it's because their grandparent wasn't the second set of parent. It was the parent. And I would never want, and then my mom is a great mom and I love her to death, but I would never want my mom to be overshadowed, to be the overshadowing mother figure to our children. As much as I love my mom,
Can I
but
say something? I understand your perspective, but I also think family is very important. We share blood. We're family. And one thing that other races do is look out for each other. Even when it comes to politics. Oh, like, for example, let's just give this example of LeBron. That's my son. I don't care if he trash. Like, I'm putting him in there.
But that's the problem,
it's
though,
family.
because
It doesn't matter. That's how politics works. That's how politics works. That's how family works. That's how those things work. We're abandoning family. Let me finish real quick, Rico, because I'll let you finish. We're abandoning it.
We're abandoning values.
We're
'cause our
abandoning
values are
values.
shifting
Yes.
from our grandparents to what's going on now because of the economy.
Right.
Because we're actually worried about our own emotions.
Right.
We are seeking our own help to be better ourselves. As
Right.
opposed to our parents, they didn't do that.
Right.
So now now that they have access to the same knowledge that we have, they take advantage of it. So I don't think it's
yeah,
It may help
really
us
think
monitor.
about it. I will be damned if I was 62 years old, working full time, and gotta watch a 4-fucking-year-old running around. I don't even
somebody
have the
did it for
energy.
you.
Thank you.
Somebody did it for you.
No,
There
they
were
didn't.
sacrifices
It's
for
what I'm
family.
trying to tell you.
So for you personally, so this is a more of a personal
You're an
thing.
outlier. Like your situation is.
but what I-
But for
No,
me,
you
my mom
gotta
is
think-
successful because she had help.
But-
Lots of help. I want to be successful and I want my family to have my back so that I can be as successful.
have
And you don't
your
have to
back,
be in a
though.
nursing home.
Yeah.
That's it. If
They
you don't want to be in a nursing home, bro, help me, because
But
at the end of the day, you will be getting your butt wiped by somebody who doesn't care about and getting ulcers because you didn't make sure that you babysat your grandkids.
There's a difference between help and then overextending.
You didn't have it, so
Well,
you
what I'm-
can't
no, no,
really
what I'm saying is wanting your parent to watch your kid every other weekend or every weekend like they are a joint custody parent
No.
is not realistic, right? That is not, especially in today. If you, I'm not saying 2, 3, 4, 5 months your parent doesn't see your child. That's not what I'm saying.
Right.
But if you got 1 weekend a month out your parent, that should be suffice, right? Like that's how I look at it. And that's called help. Anything else is called parenting.
But for me, it's one hand washes the other. I'm there for my family 100%. So at the end of the day, it's one hand washes the other. Oh, you need these wooden things moved. Oh, you need the snow plowed. Oh, you need I just help my grandmother's plumbing. I make sure I look out for my grandma because I am appreciative. My son is with my grandmother and I am not worried. My son is with my grandma. He's going to have shea butter all over him when I get home. He's going to be in his pajamas. He's going to smell good. When I pick my son up, I be like, Dad, Grandma, how you did that? She be humming him to sleep. He needs that old good love.
He only
Not
needs
the
it because
one
it wasn't passed down. So you gotta
Let
understand.
me finish, Rico. Damn, because we be letting you finish.
You don't.
At the end of I've been quiet. It's been hard.
All right.
I'm working on myself.
I appreciate
But
it.
at the end of the day, like my grandmother gives my son a type of love love, and she knows about kids so much that the things that I'm challenged with, because my son is like on the spectrum. So the things that I have challenges with and I'm so overwhelmed and it's so hard, I depend on my grandmother and my mother to pick up the pieces where I don't know it all, because they have the experience. So because you've had my cousins and my mom and everything, you know how to help me in certain areas. And I need that help. I need that support, because I have gone mad. Like, I've lost my mind at one point, because I'm like, what the hell am I supposed to be doing?
And
And
are
you
a
need the
first-time
help.
mom,
I'm a
though.
first time
Yeah.
mom.
Are you
So
an
if
only
it wasn't for a while, I was the only child. But even outside of that, I
Yeah,
have
sister.
friends, like one of my close friends, y'all met her, Aisha Diaz. Her sister is Ashley, and at the end of the day, she had kids and needed freaking help.
No, so
But she wasn't an only child, mad
point
siblings.
my point is, a lot of times family dynamics do start in the house. So does even parenting skills. So if you have a parent who is working a lot and you have younger siblings, you tend to automatically start a parenting process, not in full, but in part, at a younger age, right? So as you grow older, it kind of becomes almost like secondhand.
That was cute, but I was the oldest of about 12 siblings. So I was starting that process at my auntie's house.
All
You
right,
see what I'm saying? I
but
was
what I'm
always at my
saying-
auntie's
But
house.
what I'm saying is, there's a bunch of different ways that you can learn how to parent before you become a first-time parent. And in all honesty, I feel like everybody's situation may be different.
Yes.
Your child might be more overwhelming than others, right? So and
Yes.
sometimes some kids are very much chill.
Mhm.
Like, there's kids that don't do or need as much, so it's an easier parenting process. But we also got to understand that I look at it as a 10-year, 12-year thing. Because once your child's hit 12, you don't really
For
need.
you. So that's the thing about people today as well. You're not
Nah, that's
you know how
wrong.
many people have
What?
you know how many people have children that have like it's not a simple, like, some people's kids are not talking by a certain time. Some people's kids
I know a
don't
lot,
even
yeah.
walk. Some people's kids
No, I'm
like,
not talking
it's
about
a
the
lot
kids
of
part. I'm
no,
talking about the whole childhood, right? So,
Right.
like, half of their childhood, you really need to be very much there.
Mhm.
Once they hit that preteen, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, they're at a point where you can go out and they're going to be home.
That's not true, because that's not everybody's experience with children. So even from when your kids are small, for example, me, if I don't get my son straight and yoke him up and get him right, I might be parenting him a little bit longer than you are. That's just that. There's people who literally have children who they can never stop parenting. So there are a lot of different situations, but because it's not your situation or your friend's situation, or you haven't really experienced that, that's not something that you can understand, and that's okay. But do any of you have any disabled cousins, whatever? Nothing. Right?
My nephew is autistic.
Okay, so I had also a cousin growing up that's been in a wheelchair, or he couldn't communicate. My aunt is still his full-time parent.
Mhm.
He has to be catered to throughout the day. So again, everyone's experience parenting is different. And sometimes you just need that help, or sometimes you just need that break, or it's not that I was the only child, but when I went to go hang out with my cousins, I was the oldest of all my siblings. I was teaching them how to read. I was teaching them how to do everything. So it's not that
What's
I'm
2 plus 2?
Right. My mom had help.
Yep.
And
How'd you get the
But I
answer?
did- but Jada-
I said if Adam had
5 apples.
right.
They be like, X.
And you just gave him the answer.
22.
I was a bad teacher.
I was a
bad
horrible teacher.
I was a bad teacher.
And then the father came in. It's like,
You got to teach with fear.
Holding the belt.
I feel like we keep talking about grandparents and family as, second family to raise your children, or even just help, but like, we're missing community.
Yes, I said
Like,
that.
My mom didn't use her siblings or my grandparents to be like, okay, well, my girls need someone to watch them for the weekend, whatever. I was just always by their house. Well, growing up, my grandparents and my mom's siblings, they lived literally like 3 blocks away from us. So it was just very easy for us to always be there. Not because my mom needed someone to watch. So I didn't really agree with you saying that like grandparents should be seeing them like 2-3 times out of the month. Like that just,
I
It
never
doesn't
said
matter.
that.
What
I
did you
actually said
say?
1 time a month.
Okay, I overextend myself. Actually, one time.
I said one time is a necessity. Anything else is extra.
Crazy.
Yeah, I didn't agree with that because I was.
How do you
Not
get
seeing
close
them-
to your
I never
family?
counted
I said
how much
taking the
time.
child. Like
Okay.
Them not grandparents. That's your parents' parents.
Exactly.
Grandparents help do stuff and raise you.